Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Flip-Flop Family podcast. I'm Xylene and thank you so much for joining me today. If it's your first time with us, there are so many different episodes that you could listen to if you do like the content of this one. And if you're a loyal listener, thank you so much. This week, I have started fasting and it has been easy to not drink and not eat since Friday, but it has taken some real self-control and self-discipline. So when I thought about what to talk about this week, it had to be those two topics, self-discipline and self-control. It's so easy to falter when you're trying to fast and you can smell really nice food. As you probably know, we make our own bread. So regardless of whether I'm fasting, not everybody in my house is. So I still had to make bread. And Emiliana has been trying to fast as well of her own accord. And on Saturday, she was like, Mummy, why? Why would you put the bread maker on? Like the most amazing smell of bread, like wafting up through the house. It is very hard. And also cooking. I'm still cooking for everyone. And every so often when I do something, I go to lick my finger and I'm like, oh my God, can't lick my finger. Self-control right there. Right now is actually the eating window. So I have got a lovely coffee and I've got a little bowl of nuts here. I'm having a little picnic during this podcast. So why not grab a drink yourself and while you listen to the rest of this one? On previous podcasts, we have talked about achieving your goals, manifesting and trying not to procrastinate. So it's only natural really that we now talk about self-control and self-discipline, as without these, it's hard to achieve anything. Here is a quote by Napoleon Hill. Self-discipline begins with the mastery of your thoughts. If you don't control what you think, you can't control what you do. I totally believe that because I feel that self-discipline is a real conscious effort. It's a conscious action to be really disciplined in a certain area. Whereas with self-control, it's almost like an instant, immediate thing which you may give into. The two terms are very closely related, but control refers to the ability to manage like an immediate impulse and reactions in the actual moment, like stopping when you've eaten enough dessert and you know that you need to stop. But then there's discipline. It's a substantial effort to maintain a consistent behavior pattern over time to achieve your long-term goal, like revising every day for a month to pass an exam. Benjamin has amazing self-discipline, like the fact that he wakes up every single day at like 5 a.m. to go to the gym. It's beyond me. Like I think I'm self-disciplined, but I guess maybe that's not something that I want to do. I'm active and I go to the gym, but just not at 5 a.m. But he has no self-control when it comes to chocolate digestives out of the freezer. Yes, super cold, freezing chocolate digestives. He always says to me, oh babe, will you just give me one or two? Because he knows if I give him the whole packet, nothing is going back into the freezer. It's all good and well saying that you want to be self-disciplined at something, but I feel like you need other skills to be able to be self-disciplined. You need willpower and you need commitment to overcome challenges. Like when in my exercise class, well, recently I've got a bit of a goal to achieve the body that I had in 2018 when I was traveling, because I was just doing like 15,000 steps a day, eating really healthy, no junk, sleeping out, like getting a really good amount of sleep each day. And so I actually have this image on my phone. People might think I'm really vain, but I have an image of myself in a bikini in 2018 on my phone because that is my goal. And when I was in my exercise class on Monday, I was trying to hold the plank and I'd had enough. I was like, oh my God, I cannot, like I was waiting for the beep on the music in the class and it was just not coming. But all I was doing was visualizing a six-pack and that body that I want. And a bit of self-discipline and willpower made me hold it. I also feel that resilience plays a big part in self-discipline. I say this to Emiliana and Zach all the time. Like when they are trying to do something and they've committed to doing it and then it gets hard, they give up. And I always say you need to be more resilient. Like if you set out and said, I'm going to do this, for example, your next grade in piano, and you're practicing every day because you've said, I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to practice every day and leading up to this exam. But then when it gets hard, like 2 minutes into your 15 minutes a day practice, you give up. You need to have that resilience to push through to be able to achieve the goal. I was out shopping with my mum today in Hampstead and we went past this really cute little coffee shop. And they had a massive poster outside advertising. I don't know what it was, but it looked like a pistachio hot milk or maybe it was even a coffee, but it was like kind of a pale green color, and it just looked amazing, like a pistachio milk drink, and it had whipped cream on the top, and it had crushed pistachios and some other sauce, and it just looked so good. And for a moment, I thought to myself, I can have a drink, I just won't eat food. You know, you have these like moments of weakness, and then if you just give yourself a little bit of time, you realize, actually, I don't need that. I've decided I'm going to fast and I'm going to stick to it. I think it would be fair to say that most of us have some degree of self-discipline to be able to wake up in the morning, to go to sleep at the right time, to have a shower, to work, etc. But outside of these basic routines, self-discipline is needed for so many other things, like controlling your behavior, enabling consistent effort, goal setting, and the ability to overcome challenges. It helps you to stay focused, to make better decisions, and build habits necessary for long-term achievement. Out of all the different podcast topics that we've talked about, like manifesting and not procrastinating, are we living or simply existing, so many things that we've talked about encompass self-discipline. And if you don't have self-discipline, you will fall at the first hurdle. Just like that quote said that I read earlier on, if you can't control what you think, then how can you control what you do? Self-discipline is the power to manage your thoughts, your emotions, your behavior in the face of temptation to achieve that specific goal. We were discussing self-discipline at home, and I asked the Flip-Flop family if they could give me an example of when they have had self-discipline. Zach said that he has limited himself when he's been gaming because he knows that he shouldn't be gaming for too long. I'm not so sure about that. It was kind of a textbook answer, but I'm not sure. But that's what he said, where he's been trying to limit himself daily on the amount of gaming that he's been doing. Emiliana said that in the canteen at school, she wanted to buy a juice and a biscuit most days, and she only chose one of them because she knows that together they both have a lot of sugar in them. I explained to her that was more like self-control, but still a great example. And for Ben, I've mentioned already that he goes to the gym at 5 a.m. every single day. That is just next level self-discipline. But recently he's also started doing this brain app on his phone called Elevate, and that's a daily thing that he does every single day to exercise his brain too. So there's a bit of self-discipline there also. Having self-discipline in your life can be so positive. It can help you to put aside unwanted conflicting emotions. It can help get rid of bad habits, and it can also help avoid procrastination. And we all know that I hate a bit of procrastination. And if we lack self-discipline, it can cause so many issues like health problems, distraction, financial problems, clutter. Yes, we all know people who are not self-disciplined have a lot of clutter in their home, and we've all been there. If we're not in it at the moment, we know it's very hard to deal with, and things just pile up and they can become very overwhelming. So it's so positive and important to practice good self-discipline and self-control. Having said that, even the most disciplined people do falter. Like there are times when I come home late and I just need some downtime. So I'll just sit and I'll watch some telly and I'll be chilling. I might be on my phone. And I keep looking at the clock and I know it's late and that I'm going to struggle the next day because I've got to get up early. But you just do it to yourself anyway. But I feel like there has to be a balance. You can't always have self-discipline. And actually, as with everything, if you have too much of something, it can also not be a good thing. And if you are too self-disciplined, it can actually cause a lot of issues, namely lack of flexibility. And when plans change, routines change, it can completely knock you and you don't know what to do. Burnout is another issue if you are really self-disciplined. And I'm telling you, me and Ben, we know about this one. During our self-build, we were so determined, so self-disciplined to get the house done as soon as possible. And in the first year, we pushed ourselves to the limits, not only physically, but mentally as well. Every second that we could, we didn't relax. We were just either making something, completing the task, or we were online buying materials or planning how we were going to build the outhouse or build the deck or sort out the garden or how we were going to run certain pipes or do certain wiring. It was so exhausting. And while we were in it, I think Ben kind of noticed before I did, but I was so tunnel visioned and my self-discipline was ridiculous. I had no time for relaxation. Both of us didn't do anything for R&R at all. And eventually we did burn out. We almost went to loggerheads about it and we burnt out. So having self-discipline and control is so important, but at the same time, there needs to be a bit of a balance. If you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking that there are certain areas in your life that you would like to have more self-discipline in so that you can be more focused to achieve your goals, then here are a few ways that you can do that. Firstly, know your strengths and weaknesses. Remove temptations from around you. Set clear goals and have a plan. And practice daily diligence. We all know how important it is to be consistent. So daily diligence is definitely going to help you to get closer. Create new habits and rituals and get rid of the bad habits. And change your perception about willpower. Believe that you have it and that you're going to use it. And create an environment that makes it easier. So whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, make it easier for yourself. Like for me, in this fasting situation, Ben only eats one meal. Well, he has like a window that he eats in the evening, and which luckily ties into me and my fasting. But if it was just us, we wouldn't be baking bread and we wouldn't be cooking when we're not eating. And everything just wouldn't be out. Like today I was food shopping in M&S during the time when I wasn't eating and I was so hungry. I don't know why I was torturing myself actually looking around. And then I was scrolling on my phone and all these amazing recipes were coming up. And then on top of that, it was my best friend's husband's birthday and she was sending me the most amazing pictures of the cake that she had baked. Just remove all temptation. Don't do it to yourself and you are more likely to succeed. With self-control, I love this one. There's the 10-minute rule. You may have heard of it, but basically, if you feel an impulse to indulge, like in a bad habit or in some food or in something that you know that you shouldn't be doing, wait 10 minutes. Allow your rational mind to catch up with your impulses, and this should hopefully make for a better decision. Don't forget it, the 10-minute rule. The bottom line is that self-discipline and self-control is going to get you closer to your dreams. People like other people with self-discipline and self-control because it means that they are on a path, they have a plan, their actions are purposeful, and it can really help you to make better decisions. It may stop you from having one more drink because you've got self-discipline, or it may stop you from indulging when you know you've already indulged that day. Essentially, work hard and live with integrity. Be resilient and push through in whatever task that you're doing to get closer to your goals. Ben and I had a little date lunch last week while the kids were at school. They weren't very happy about it, but we went to Pizza Express and Ben was just amazed by how I managed to get the bill down. So this is my game changer. You need to make sure that if you are a pizza lover, you join the Pizza Express Club. You eat, you earn, and then it repeats, literally. So there are different tiers. There's silver, there's bronze, and there's gold. And every time you dine in at Pizza Express, or if you buy those Pizza Express pizzas from the supermarket, they have a little QR code that you can scan in your app, and you get, I think, a quarter pizza or a half a pizza that goes into your app. But if you get 12 pizzas in the year, you will achieve gold status for the whole following year. That's 12 months at gold status. There are also rewards for bronze and silver. But if you reach gold, you get so many freebies, it's ridiculous. Like you get free dough balls, a free kids meal, free soft drink, free hot drink, free dessert, free water, free. There's so many freebies that I think Ben and I went out to eat and the bill came to like £50. And then on the app, it shows you the bill. And I just tap, added all the rewards and we ended up paying like 15 quid. So make sure that you join the Pizza Express Club if you're a pizza lover. At the moment, I am totally obsessed with my new jeans. You may have heard on a previous podcast that I really struggle with buying jeans, and New Look actually have a massive range of different styles of jeans, and they also cover all different body shapes, like from tall to short to big to small. They cover it all. And these jeans that I really love, they're called Tori, Tori. They come in every different color, every different length, and they're basically slim fit mum jeans. It's taken me a long time to come away from the skinnies, and I've taken so long that I'm pretty sure the skinnies are going to come back in fashion, so I won't be throwing them away. But check out the Tory jeans, or just check out the jeans at New Look. They're definitely what I'm obsessed with at the moment, and it might help you out too if you need some jeans. And most importantly, I have the seal of approval from Emiliana, and every mum needs their daughter to approve. My dish of the week has got to be the crispy sesame chicken that I made with sticky Asian sauce. It was a bit of a faff to make, but I've given a tip on the Flip Flop Family Kitchen Instagram page of how to take away that faff. But it was basically like a Chinese takeaway, like sweet and sour chicken and like chili chicken kind of mixed together. But it was so delicious that it was like restaurant standard, to a point where Ben was going to ask for the bill after we ate it. So check out that dish of the week. Really yummy. And it's totally up there with like a kind of weekend munch. You could even get some prawn crackers, and you could get some spring rolls and all that, and really do like a kind of home takeaway, which will be way more healthier and obviously way cheaper. Moving on to my savvy tip. It's a bit serious, I would say. Well, maybe not. As we're getting older, even if you're not near retirement, it's important to think about your retirement. If you're earning, if you're employed and you're paying national insurance, it's likely that you're paying into a pot so that when you do retire, you can get as much of the state pension allowance as possible. But there may be years when you didn't pay into your national insurance. Perhaps you weren't working, maybe you went traveling. There are lots of reasons why you may not have paid into the pot. So it's really important that before the 5th of April, you log on to your account and you check if there are any missing years, because obviously I'm not here to give you any financial advice. This is just my opinion and from things that I've seen online, and also our good friend Martin Lewis. Make sure that you check if you're missing any years, because it's likely you'll be able to pay for those years, and the amount you pay will be way less compared to the amount that you'll benefit from when you do retire. So regardless of how old you are listening to this podcast, just check it out. It's worth it to make sure that you are in line and that you are going to get that full amount of your state pension when you do retire. Oh, I would love to retire tomorrow. I'm not going to lie. My track of the week has got to be Teddy Swims, and the song is called Bad Dreams. Have a listen. It's a lovely track. And thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. I would like to end on another quote, unusual for me, but this one's very short, by Theodore Roosevelt. With self-discipline, anything is possible. Thank you again. Remember that we have lots more podcast that you could listen to, and please do comment, let us know what you're thinking, and rate these podcasts as well, and click the little ring bell if you would like to know every time that we release a podcast, which is Mondays and Thursday. I'm Xylene. You've been awesome. Bye. Have you ever thought about manifesting and how powerful that it can be? Have you got plans and goals that you want to achieve this year and need a little kickstart to get there? Why not listen to the podcast, The Power of Manifesting, the Flip Flop Family Podcast.